Look, if you've been literally pulling your hair out trying to figure out why your Meta ads reporting looks like a complete work of fiction, you are in exactly the right place. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're tackling the massive headache of Facebook Conversions API deduplication. We're going to diagnose your tracking nightmare and give you the high-level roadmap to stop double-counting your events for good.
Ask yourself right now, are your Meta ads showing duplicate conversions? Are you dealing with a completely incorrect, artificially inflated return on ad spend? You know the feeling. You look at your ads manager and it proudly says you made 10 sales. Then you check your actual bank account or your Shopify dashboard, and yep, you only had 5. It's incredibly common, it absolutely ruins your ability to make smart media buying decisions, and it's exactly what we're fixing today.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our quick roadmap for today. 1. The dual tracking trap. 2. The duplication master key. 3. Why duplication actually fails. 4. Fixing your tracking architecture. And 5. The ultimate implementation guide. Let's go.
Part 1. The dual tracking trap.
So this trap is where most operators inadvertently break their entire tracking machine. And the crazy part, they do it while trying to do the right thing. When you upgrade to server-side tracking, standard practice says you run a dual tracking setup. This just means you fire the standard metapixel from the user's browser and simultaneously fire a webhook from your backend server. We do this for a really solid reason, redundancy. It makes sure no data is lost to ad blockers or iOS updates. But, and this is a massive but, if you execute this dual setup without the right configuration, you are creating a mathematical disaster. Without specific instructions, Meta just sees the browser signal and the server signal as two totally separate sales.
Which brings us to part 2. The Deduplication Master Key.
The absolute most crucial thing here is understanding this exact variable, the event ID. If you look at Meta's official documentation, their Graph API deduplication engine relies almost entirely on this master key. It's really just a unique alphanumeric string that gets generated at the exact split-second a conversion happens. Here's the kicker. If you don't explicitly declare this exact variable in both of your payloads, the browser and the server, the deduplication engine will completely fail. It's that simple.
This perfectly illustrates how the logic is supposed to work when it's running smoothly. Think about path A. The browser pixel sends a purchase event, and we attach the event ID TXN_888. Now, at the exact same time, think about path B. Your server API sends a webhook payload, and look at that, it contains the exact same event ID TXN_888. When the Meta duplication engine sees both payloads, it matches that TXN_888 master key, safely tosses out the redundant browser event, and records exactly one clean, accurate conversion. Boom, perfect.
All right, part 3, why deduplication fails.
When this master key system breaks down, oh man, the results are incredibly frustrating. Advertisers will spend hours setting up their shiny new dual tracking, excitedly open up their events manager, and bam! They are greeted with this catastrophic warning, 0% event coverage. Seeing that big 0 means your deduplication is completely, fundamentally broken. It tells us that Meta is getting your server events just fine, but it literally cannot find a single browser event to match them against.
So, how does this actually happen in the real world? Well, if you're seeing that 0%, you need an immediate audit. Let's look at some common edge cases. First up, asynchronous loading conflicts. Say you use Google Tag Manager, and your base pixel fires before the event_ID is actually generated. Well, you just sent a blank variable. Not good. Second, lazy loading plugins. Tools like WP Rocket on WordPress are great. They aggressively defer JavaScript to speed up your site. But if they defer your metapixel for too long, the browser event never fires at all, leaving your server payload totally orphaned. And finally, Stripe checkout redirection. If a user buys on a hosted Stripe page and fails to redirect back to your designated thank you page, the browser pixel simply has no environment to fire in.
Let's fix this. Part 4, fixing your tracking architecture.
Conceptually, fixing your broken tracking machine requires total synchronization across both of your tracking paths. It really boils down to these 3 steps. Step 1, you absolutely must generate an identical event_ID at the exact moment of conversion. Step 2, you must perfectly pass that identical ID to both the browser payload and the server payload at the exact same time. Step 3, you just sit back and let Meta's Graph API safely merge the events. If you get these steps structurally sound, your tracking is going to be bulletproof.
And please, whatever you do, do not wait for live paid traffic to test if your fix actually worked. Jump right into the Meta Events Manager and use the Test Server Events tool. Just trigger a live purchase on your site using a sandbox credit card. You need to verify right there in the testing tool that the server indicator registers right alongside the browser event with the exact same event_ID string. If that total count doesn't inflate, congratulations, you've synchronized the paths.
Finally, Part 5, the Ultimate Implementation Guide. Now you might be thinking, great, I get the concept, but how do I actually build this? Well, the actual implementation, including how to generate and pass event ID correctly using automation tools, is more complex. Understanding the theory of a matching master key is one thing, but actually engineering your backend to format JSON payloads, hash customer data, and bypass manual coding errors, that is an entirely different discipline.
So I'm definitely not going to bore you to tears by reading raw JSON arrays or lines of code in this explainer. Instead, I've broken down the exact system and full setup in the guide linked below. We use the Make.com Attribution Hub blueprint, which completely bypasses manual coding. It handles the formatting, it maps the event IDs, and it ensures your meta event match quality. Your EMQ score is fully optimized. If you want the step-by-step how-to, that is exactly where you need to go.
Because when you implement that blueprint correctly, the final outcome is just a real game changer. Your ad tracking becomes perfectly accurate. Those annoying duplicate conversions are entirely eliminated from your dashboard. Your return on ad spend finally becomes a rock-solid, reliable metric that you can actually trust to scale your campaigns. Plus, your Meta EMQ score gets fully optimized, feeding the algorithm exactly what it needs to go out and find you more buyers.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought to ponder. Are you going to continue letting a broken dual tracking setup mathematically inflate your ROS and ruin your decision-making, or will you take control, click the guide below, and fix your CAPI architecture today? The exact solution is right there waiting for you. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you on the next one.